Marissa scores!
There's scenes here at Perry Park.
Chris Lynn has taken the wild thing and sent him.
Oh, bang, 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 wow! Yeah!
And we're back for another episode of the Beyond the Sidelines podcast. How are we, boys? How are we today?
He sounds pretty enthused.
He
Campbell,
really
doesn't
does.
He?
He
I'm
sounds-
excited.
It's almost like it's his birthday.
Happy birthday, Gussie.
Birthday.
Thank you, boys. Don't sing.
Woohoo.
No, don't. Seriously, don't sing. I already had to put up with my family singing. That is torture enough. It is pretty tough. 7 a.m. in the morning.
7 a.m. Why are they
Yeah.
getting you up
Jeez,
that
early,
early,
right?
mate?
They have to go to school, mate. Like
They all go to school, huh?
Yeah.
They can speak to you afterwards.
Yeah. Well,
They were just really keen.
They're
to
just
talk
really
to
keen to see you, mate. They think you're just
it's
a
my
great
birthday.
bloke.
God, come on.
them.
They
Jeez,
gotta-
It is my birthday.
It is my birthday.
Anyway, we're
Thank-
continuing.
Thanks, Parrot.
Yeah, is there an echo in here? A bit of in between as a reference for you. Anyway,
Yeah. Well,
should we
we
get straight into it?
we
Or
should
no?
get on to our four.
Should we, Gussie? I don't know, mate. I don't know. You need to sound a bit more enthusiastic.
We
mate.
you
should
need
get
to have
on
a bit
to
more
our
fun.
fast 4+1, guys. Who's excited? Finn, are you excited?
I am now.
Oh, there we go.
riveting stuff. All right, I've got the timer up this week.
Yeah, you do.
So, but you're running it. Go.
Well, we'll start off with the first one. Darius Boyd tells his Broncos players to go vegan, so his teammates.
Has he always been vegan or
I'm not sure.
I don't think he's been vegan since day one, mate. If that's what you're implying.
No.
no? But
um,
when did he go vegan? Do we think?
Look, I think it's recently. I was reading an article. It said that he was inspired by a Netflix documentary
jeez.
or Netflix
He watched
show.
Cowspiracy.
It's called The Game Changers, apparently. So he
Oh.
was inspired by that. He thinks everyone in the Broncos side should go vegan to give them a better chance at winning a grand final.
I would not take any advice from Darius Boyd at this point.
That's the
Look
thing,
at
mate.
how did he have 1 meter in one game?
He had, I think it was 0.
Played 80
was
minutes.
it 1 meter? No, it was
One
meter.
run for 1 meter.
That's right, yeah. Well, exactly. His bad form seems to be pretty timely when it comes to this vegan announcement. So
Yeah.
I mean,
Well-
I'm all for veganism. Don't get me wrong, but glass houses for Darius.
Yeah, well, I'm not exactly for veganism. It's well, I guess they
You
eat
bloody
all the-
plant
that-
eaters.
they leave more meat for me, which is good. I
Exactly.
guess.
Anyway, moving on.
Well, we've got the Barry Hall and Paul Gallen fight this
Code
week.
War.
Well, as we're recording, it's on Friday. It's a bit of a code war here. So we've got Barry Hall from the AFL and Paul Gallen from the NRL.
Well, it's pretty fair that you're calling it a code war, mate, because that's what everybody's calling it.
Mm.
So good work throwing that one
Yeah,
in.
wow.
Green Machine Productions.
Green
Danny
Machine
Green.
Productions, Danny Green
Yeah.
doing good things for boxing. But guys, this is a weird one.
Yeah.
So I think you got Paul Gallen. He's 9-0. He's fought professional athletes who, in my opinion, are pretty well past their prime. I think he's fought 12 different boxers in sparring in preparation for this fight because he doesn't know how Barry Hall's going to come out and fight. Because of course he hasn't had a professional fight. So
Well, just seeing photos of Barry Hall, he's got the height on him. He's got the reach. He weighs about 200 and something.
Who's this?
Barry Hall.
he weighs
100
200 kilos.
Sorry,
Is that what you reckon?
102 kilos.
Yeah.
To be fair, mate, you made that
I did
same
make
mistake
that
with me.
mistake earlier. I'll own that.
That's
I'll
probably
own
where
that.
I got
That's
it from.
probably where you got it from.
Yeah.
But no,
I mean, Paul Gallen's 400 grams lighter, so there's not a huge difference.
Sorry about
The main
400
difference is-
kilos.
Yeah.
look,
um,
the reach is
The
huge.
reach is the thing.
Yeah, but I
The
think
height.
Paul Gallen is going to try and be a bit of a bulldog, a bit of a brawler here, and
Yeah,
he's going to get in close, try and take that first hit, and
We'll see what happens, eh?
indeed.
I
But
think we will,
I
Gussie.
reckon
Yeah.
Barry Hall looks a little bit more fit at the moment.
Well,
Personally.
he hasn't really had the experience in the ring that Gallen has recently.
The last time he fought, he was 15. He was
Yeah.
an amateur. I think he was about half his body weight.
Yeah.
He was a tall, lanky, awkward guy, apparently. So
Yeah, I reckon he'll go if it has to go the difference, he'll do better just due to
go
his
the difference.
fitness. Did I say difference?
I think you did.
I thought I said distance. Well, that's what I meant anyway.
Yeah.
Moving on.
Well, boys, London are calling. They've got the famous London side, Chelsea Football Club, have signed Sam Kerr
Yeah.
on a contract. So that's her next destination. She's moving from the A-League. She's played stints in the American League as well.
Well, that's the.
She's now going to one of the top sides in women's football.
I'd
in
say
Chelsea.
MLSW is bigger than the English league.
No, 'cause it's
Chelsea's a pretty good side in the
It's a
women's
bigger
competition.
club.
it's
but-
the Super League, mate. So
Oh, Super League.
because they don't have the depth and the funds.
Yeah.
They pretty much have a European competition.
Yeah,
so,
it's pretty cool then.
she knocked back deals from say Lyon.
Who are the best?
They're the
They
best
are
side,
head and shoulders above everyone else. But I guess she's got to try and assess, where's my playing time going to be.
Mm.
Now, she is as Australians or as Aussie residents,
As Aussies.
we'll say she's the best female player in the world.
Mm.
Yeah.
But does that still get you all the minutes you want if you go to a team like Leon? And
Surely.
And plus, growing up in Australia, you idolise, or if you watch football, you watch the Prem.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if you were going to go pro, ideally, in a perfect world, that's where you'd go, right? So that's
Well,
why she's put pen to paper.
The
And
deal is worth apparently around $2 million.
A year or for the whole
I
period? Or
believe it's...
as he reads off his phone.
Mr. Fox Sports?
I don't think it says. But it's been announced as a $2 million deal. I think it's about 2 seasons.
Couple of years.
Yeah.
That's
If-
pretty
if
good.
It's 2.5
That's
years.
very good.
But no, I think she's going to be one of the highest paid female footballers in the world.
Mm.
Should be.
Congratulations, Sam Kerr.
Big old congratulations.
Exactly.
We're staying on football?
Yeah, well, no, we're going to cricket.
We're going to cricket.
We're going to cricket now. We're going in
Okay.
a different direction. And we're talking about Will Pucovski, who pulled out of the race to play for Australia this summer due to mental health issues, stuff like that. What do you boys
What's the
think
second
about?
time he's done this? He
Yeah.
did this, I think it was last summer as well. He withdrew from the test squad again in the lead up to a potential debut. Plenty of expectation on this kid. I think Shane Warne, this time last year, was talking him up as a top batsman for the Australian team going forward. And look, if he's done the right thing, I think, to step away.
Yeah.
But is enough being done to focus on these youngsters coming through and enough to really, concentrate and give them the training to prepare for this type of thing?
Mm.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't think so, personally.
We've also had Glenn Maxwell previously come out with mental health issues.
But it's not...
What do you reckon has been done by Cricket Australia to maybe help some of these guys?
Mate, they'll have mental skills coaches.
Yeah.
But that can only go so far when you've got the stigma of, again, this is why we're doing Movember. Can you speak up about it? Can you, do you feel like you can?
Is it a good thing that these guys are speaking up about it?
Yes.
And they're going...
100%.
It is, mate. But wait, Campbell, you said just before
Yeah.
you don't think that Cricket Australia necessarily were doing...
I don't think they're doing
Everything.
enough.
Yeah.
I think it's hard when players are playing for Shield teams and they're playing differently. It's not like say we spoke about BBC, they're all playing in the same squad. Like it's the individual. It's almost like Cricket Australia has to just assign a couple mental skill coaches per state, basically. I think because it's just too hard to get a reach on all your squad players that you potentially want.
Well, is cricket too hard to do that for? Because I think you have these players, they're playing so many different competitions. You got Shield cricket, you got internationals, let alone 3 different formats.
BBL as well.
BBL, IPL, Caribbean Premier League. You've got the 10-over league in
They're
England.
busy boys.
Mm.
They're busy boys. And
Very
it's tough. I'd like to read a bit more into it in terms of what they're doing currently, what they could be doing more of.
But does this, these players stepping up and saying they aren't okay, is this helping to remove the stigma a bit, or
yes.
it is?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's fine. It's basically saying, hey, it's fine to say I'm not mentally prepared for this. Right?
Especially as, sorry, Gussie, just before we wrap up, this has been about a 3-minute segment. But
Yeah.
I think athletes, especially as blokes, they're people we look up to, I think.
Yeah.
So especially for the younger kids, this is definitely a good thing going forward, right? So plenty of positives. But
Well,
obviously, I hope he's okay. Same with Glenn Maxwell and getting the help they need.
And in our last Fast 4+1, we talk about New Zealand football. Finn, you might want to take over here about...
You get to have a rant, my boy.
Mate, I just think it's ridiculous. Now, for all of you who aren't All Whites fans, and I don't know, I kind of jump in and out of that camp every once in a while, but this is a team who, at the time of recording, hasn't played an international game in 526 days. What? It's comedic. What other team in sport goes 500 days plus without playing a game?
Do you call yourself a national team?
Well, that's the thing, mate.
What is it?
I would love to be that national team head coach, a bloke who gets paid annually to coach the team, even though they're not in camp. And if he wants to, he can say, hey, there's a young Kiwi kid playing in Germany. I want to go check him out, see if he's any good. And New Zealand football have to go, hey, yeah, that's okay. We get that. So he pretty much gets free holidays if he wants to, mate. I think it's an absolute joke. I think it's a joke.
Submit your resume on Football Manager, mate.
Oh, don't get me started.
As a young guy, as a New Zealander coming through the ranks, I don't think there's much ambition to play in the New Zealand national side.
There is, mate. It's just, I think it's similar to New Zealand.
But like, why would they want to if they're not playing?
Because it's
enough
New
footy?
Zealand. You want to play for your country, but I think when it's the same issue with Australian football. When it comes to sometimes you've got to spend a bit to get a bit.
Yeah.
You know, they're not willing to chuck some money around to get Zlatan, you know, to expand, to have a second division, because they're fine where they are now. And New Zealand football, they're even worse, mate. Now, New Zealand, they like being a country who, I don't know, they like being the underdog. And for some reason, they've just taken themselves out of the picture. Only undefeated team at the 2010 World Cup.
Mm-hmm.
Guess that means nothing. They don't play games, mate. They're going to play the Republic of Ireland on Friday, so the day of this is released.
That'll be a good game.
Not for us, mate.
Not for you. You're going to get walloped.
We'll get thumped 4-1, I reckon.
I do think you have a good squad, though. You have the potential for a good squad.
That's the thing, mate. We have a good squad, but that doesn't mean anything if you don't play. It's literally, it's the stupidest thing to not play in over 500 days.
Well, on the topic of football, we had a great guest this week, Bon Scott, cult hero of the Brisbane Strikers football side, who made a quite outstanding run in the FFA Cup, made it all the way to a semi-final. So we interviewed him this week. You can hear about that now. This week, we are joined by Brisbane Strikers cult hero, Bon Scott. How are you, Bon?
Good, boys. Thanks for having me on.
Good.
Legend. There's a few chants. So obviously, elephant in the room, Bon Scott. Are your parents big AC/DC fans?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they are.
Are they actually? Were you named after him?
I wasn't named after him specifically, but like Dad always liked the name, and he said if he had a son, he'd name him Bon because he really liked the name.
That is awesome.
That is very cool.
That's a story.
What are some of the chants? There's so many AC/DC based chants for you at the Strikers.
Oh, tell me. Yeah, I heard some of them. Like I kept smiling every time I heard them. They were, they cracked me up. It was good. It was good during the games to hear them.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, what is the support like at the Strikers?
Yeah, look, it's quite good. Like it's quite good in the cup games, especially. Like we had some unbelievable games, and like the support was fantastic. During the NPL season, it's probably not as electric, I'll say, but it's still good. Like we've sort of got a cult following from when we were in the NSL. There's a strong sort of core of supporters, and yeah, it's all right. It's good.
Well, I definitely think it's grown from that FFA Cup run. We saw quite a lot of people turn out to that semi-final against Melbourne City. What was it like representing the Strikers in that game?
Yeah, it was good. It was an enjoyable game. Probably didn't go the way the way we wanted it to, but I think for me it was all right. Like I just made the most of it and just tried to make as many saves as I could.
And Bon, what was it like for you through that FFA Cup? Was it, nerve-wracking? Was it hard to get up for it? Or, how did your approach to the game change compared to NPL level?
Mate, it was not hard to get up for the cup.
No.
All the boys, absolutely. Yeah, we relished it. Like it's good, and like our level, we pretty much play for the love of it. And like, there's obviously quite a few lads in the team that want to aspire and push on to bigger and better things. But like, those cup games are so much fun. Like you get a few thousand people to them, and you get to play against like just better opposition and it's cup football as well. So it's pretty much make or break. So yeah, we loved it.
And I've got to address it, man. I'm a Wellington boy. I'm a Wellington Phoenix fan. So that round of 32 FFA Cup game, Campbell and I, we were there.
Yep, Gussie wasn't because he's a fake fan.
He's a fake fan.
Come on.
He's a fraud.
Yes, he is.
Exactly.
Thank you. We've got the backing of the man himself.
Exactly. That's me and my dad. It's his birthday too, Bon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, happy birthday, mate.
Oh, thank
should
you.
have come to the Strikers games.
Oh, thank you.
No, but mate, that game, so, what was running through your head throughout it, and that performance, you just played absolutely out of your skin. So, how did the boys receive you in the sheds, after full time too?
Oh, thank you, mate. Appreciate it. It was a really good game. It was pretty much, I don't know, like we had no nerves going into it. Like we got to the round of 32. There was a couple of guys in our team that have sort of been there and done it, but for me and most of the other boys, it was a new experience, and pretty much just went in just with not too much ourselves, and that sort of worked out. Like I thought I played all right. Like I had a decent game. It was obviously nice to save a penalty in the end, and yeah, it was a good game. It was a very good game actually. Really
It was
enjoyed
a bit more than decent.
Mate, the penalty in extra time. That was absolutely clutch.
Yeah, oh, clutch. I love that word.
Yeah.
The boys were stoked. The boys were having me on. They were pretty grateful. But I think like everyone dug deep and everyone played pretty well. So obviously it was nice. But yeah,
we've had some good nights on Solo Hill.
Solo Hill at Perry Park.
With you behind us a few times, which was good. One thing I have to bring up: why was the penalty shootout not at the Solo Hill end? It was up the YMCA end. What is that about?
I have no idea. But to be fair, it sort of worked out because everyone was sort of like closed in and had from my angle, it had like a really, really good atmosphere. A couple hundred people behind the goal, and yeah, it sort of spurred us on.
Oh,
I
no
guess.
doubt.
And then
pitch invasion.
Exactly, mate. Then the pitch invasion afterwards. So how was that as a player?
Scenes,
Mate.
mate. Absolute scenes.
Magic of the cup, eh? That's grassroots footy.
Couldn't believe it. Like I was happy with the result, and then that just sort of took it up another notch, and then I was buzzing.
No, we were standing there and we saw one guy kind of like awkwardly make his way to the field. And he was kind of, glancing around and...
Is someone going to do it with me?
Exactly. Then he just ran and then, hundreds followed him. But, mate, that was, I think, that was our first real Strikers game.
It was.
It's a pretty good debut from a fan's point of view. So.
I remember Finn had his... he was a bit sad that night. Finn had his hand... he was just non-responsive. I was loving it. He was not so happy. Now he's grown to love it, but...
well, it's just a Wellington Phoenix, mate.
They just keep letting you down.
Every year.
What is it like to beat an A-League side?
It's good. Really good. It was great actually. Like, because obviously they're the sort of games you want to play in. I know it's a cliche, but you want to play in like big games, and to do it on the national stage it was great. Like we were quietly confident that we'd like give them a good game, but to go and actually beat them was just it was great.
Well, it was quite
great for
funny
everyone.
because before the game, I remember seeing the Phoenix. They announced 3 kit releases for their home kit, their away kit, and a third kit. So for them to get knocked out in their first game was a bit hypocritical or a bit bit silly.
They thought they were going to go a bit further, I think.
Exactly. Now, Bond, that was obviously what's happening now. That's what's recent. But let's take it back to the start of your footballing career. Why did you pick goalkeeper?
A funny story actually. So I was a striker up until I was about 12 years old, and I'm really competitive. And so basically I just hated getting substituted. Like I could not stand it. Just couldn't. Like tantrums, just was hating it. And I'd like having control of the game, because like if I was off, say I was substituted and we ended up losing by a goal, like I'd be sulking for the rest of the weekend. And then Dad pretty much said, look, if you never want to get subbed, just go in goals. And that's where it all started from. And like I live on the Sunshine Coast, and basically we walked over the beach every morning and just kicked balls at me, and I sort of grew to love it.
Jeez.
And when did you go to Churchy?
That was grade 10, so that was 2012.
Okay, cool. So you went to Churchy. Why did you go to Churchy?
Why not BBC?
So
or grammar?
I had an offer from BBC actually.
Oh, mate, good school. School. You should have gone there.
No interest.
Yeah.
Not much for their footballing program now.
Nah, the rugby is a bit better, but the football, not so much. I was at the QAS and I was commuting from the Sunshine Coast, and then the opportunity to come up to go to Churchy, so I sort of jumped at that. Like it was obviously a fantastic school, and it was a good experience. It was a really good experience.
And what was the footballing program like at Churchy? Was it competitive or professional almost, or in terms of how they approach their training?
Yeah, it was really good. The coach, Warren Moon, at the time, he's like fantastic. He's going on to coach, I think he's the academy director at the Brisbane Roar now. It was it was great. Like obviously football in GPS isn't the number one attraction, but for me it was just a great opportunity to go down there, live in Brisbane, meet a bunch of new people, and go to a great school. So it was good.
Yeah, certainly. And I'm seeing here, how did you guys go in your year 12 season?
In our year 12 season, I'm pretty sure we had the opportunity to win it at BGS, and we drew 1-1, I think, from memory. We're going back a fair while, but we just missed out. If we won that game, I'm pretty sure we would have given ourselves every chance to win because I think we played a weak BBC team right at the end.
Yeah, now we were looking over your records as well, and you played NPL while you were in year 12.
Yeah.
How was that, playing at such a young age in this competition?
Yeah, it was all right. It was pretty much sink or swim, like just sort of, yeah, either play well or you don't sort of play. And I loved it. Like I sort of come through the system in terms of like QAS and then Brisbane Raw Youth. And I was at the Raw Youth for a while and I wasn't playing games. And I just went, all right, I gotta go play games because that's what it's all about. And then I went and yeah, pretty much played. And it was good. It was the best thing I've sort of really done.
And so did you join City from there?
Yeah.
Fantastic.
So
So Brisbane City. So you went from the Raw to the Brisbane City, and that was to play games.
Yeah, just to play as much as I could.
And what made you move to the Strikers from the City, or how many years did you play at the City?
I've had more clubs than Tiger Woods, some of the boys say. But I've been around for like sort of relatively young in goalkeeper terms. I was at Newcastle Jets in their sort of setup. I went overseas to England. I was at Crystal Palace, Watford, just trialling. No, I wasn't signed. And then I came back to Western Pride.
So they missed out.
You're telling me. That's what I told him.
How was that experience then?
Yeah.
Oh, it was amazing. It was amazing. It was incredible. It was sort of annoying at the end because they said, like, I'd just come off the back of, I made the under-20s Australian team, so I was pretty confident and pretty hopeful. And as soon as I got there, they were like, yeah, look, you're 6 foot. We're not even going to think about signing you because you're not 6'4". And I was like, oh, thanks.
Oh, my God.
What was it like walking out onto those grounds like Selhurst Park and stuff like that?
I was just on the training pitch, mate.
You were just a training field, weren't able to get onto Selhurst?
Nowhere near it, mate.
Oh, no.
Nowhere near it.
Closer than us. So.
When you tell that story back, tell them that you did. When you tell people that story, tell them you got to the main pitch. So.
Oh, mate, I can't. I'm not a fraud. I can't.
Good. Unlike Gussie, he's a fake Strikers fan.
Well, what was it like to go into the youth setup with Newcastle?
It was good. It was really good. Like I was lucky enough I got to train with the first team and they had some good keepers. They had Bill Giddy, who's now at Central Coast, and Ben Kennedy.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it was a really good experience, like pretty much training full time. Newcastle's a lot like the Sunshine Coast, like the beaches are amazing, and yeah, it's a good lifestyle. I'm not going to lie, I took it for granted because in the back of my mind, I just thought I'm going to go play in the Premier League. So they offered for me to stay in the NPL setup, and I declined to go over to overseas, and then got to England. Like I'm from England originally, so I sort of knew what it was like, but I didn't know what it was like. It's cold, miserable.
Yeah.
And but yeah, I'm glad I went. Like I had to go because otherwise I'd always be questioning whether or not that would have worked out.
Do you still aspire to get to that level, mate, or is it just NPL for now?
Oh, mate, yeah. I really, really want to get to the next level. I've pretty much devoted my whole life to soccer. Like I just love it. Yeah. Obviously, I'm not there right now, but like there's things on the horizon for me, which is pretty exciting. Like last year I was injured, and that sort of put it into perspective in terms of like I was 21, I was injured, I wasn't playing, I wasn't signed or anything, but I don't know, it sort of spurred me on to just sort of try harder this year because I don't know, just love it.
Well, do you think the Strikers could move on to the next level? Do you think they could compete as an A-League side?
Yes and no. Like the way the A-League is at the moment, I think there's a lot of work that needs to be done to bring in new teams. But with the team, Western United this year, they're flying at the moment. They're a new team. There's no reason why Strikers couldn't, but I think that's probably 5-10 years down the track.
Yep.
Okay, so what's the next step for you then?
For me, I'm still waiting on a few things sort of A-League wise. I'm going to see how they sort of pan out. I'm not sure what will happen, but pretty much open to anything. I was nearly had something recently, but it didn't come to fruition. But yeah, fingers crossed. I'll keep training hard and see what pops up.
Well, I guess all throughout the FFA Cup, you made some absolutely amazing, pinpoint saves. And it got plenty of social media traction, so that kind of hurt your chances.
Yeah, it was the media guy at Strikers does an awesome job of sort of getting it out there. And yeah, we almost built like a decent following through the cup. Like everyone got up for the cup. And that's all well and good. But I think just if I play consistently, that'll be what gets me to the next level.
And I've had a thought about the FFA Cup, so plenty of penalty shootouts. As an ex-striker, were you in line to take one?
I really wanted to. Yeah. I was buzzing. I was on a high that game. And I was pretty much. I looked at the coach and said, "What? When am I taking one?" He went, "Just relax, just save them, and then we'll get to that." But nah, I don't. I think if I took one, I'd fancy my chances. But the boys are a lot better at taking pens than me, so I'll leave that to them.
So would you go with a Paninka or what would
Rabona?
Rabona.
Yeah.
Just straight blast it down the middle and hope for the best. That's probably what I do.
Fair enough. Well, you may have seen it. We are doing Movember. Well, I mean, an attempt at Movember.
Yeah.
Not really working, but you are as well. How's that going for you?
I'm in the same boat. It's not looking too good. It's not looking too good.
Fair enough. And why are you participating in Movember this year?
It's a bit of a personal one this year. So last month, actually right before the Melbourne City game, got a phone call saying that my uncle had taken his own life, and it really just sort of, nothing can prepare you for something like that. And obviously, me and Dad have been dealing with that for the last sort of month. The whole family has. It's been really tough. And then Movember popped up as a great way to sort of raise awareness and raise funds and just get the word out there that it's okay not to be okay. And I think Movember's fantastic and just sort of brings awareness to lots of issues, not just mental health, but all sorts of issues.
Well, we're really sorry to hear about that, mate. And that's exactly why we're doing it too, is to help men stop dying young. And as you said, it's okay to not be okay. That's the whole message we're trying to spread as well. And it's really important, and we're glad you're doing it as well.
Awesome.
Sweet. Well, I think that's all we have. Thank you so much, Bon, for coming on today. Cheers.
Awesome. Was that all right?
Perfect.
Yep, that's brilliant.
that was sweet. Cheers for that.
Cheers, man. Thank you so much.
Perfect. Cheers, guys.
That was a brilliant interview with Bon Scott. Boys, what did you think?
I thought it was pretty average, Gus. You ask us every time. It was a great interview.
Pretty real. Pretty real.
Yeah, it was really awesome.
Yeah.
Really, really good. Lots of information he gave us about his career, which I found really interesting.
It was by the phone, but he was really easy to talk to. I think he was zooming down the highway or something. He was in the car.
Yeah.
But no, he was again, he's a bit of a cold hero. Not just with the Strikers, but with us.
Yeah, we finally got him on, boys.
We finally got him on.
He wished me a happy birthday. How about that?
He did.
He also roasted you for being fake. But
that is true.
I guess let's omit things.
Take one, give one.
Yeah.
Bit of give and take.
What I'd give to be in your situation, mate.
What, getting happy birthday?
Yeah. So it'd have to be my birthday.
Yeah.
That's the only thing that stopped it from happening.
Damn it. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, we are on the topic of football, so we'll continue with it. We'll go on to the A-League. The results.
Oh, the only one that matters, mate. The only one that matters.
No.
Second week in a row. They came. They saw. They conquered.
Smoky.
Come on, you Phoenix. Smoky, mate.
Smoky.
We'll get on to the Phoenix, and you'll be able to celebrate, mate. All right.
You're a buzzkill, mate.
So do we have to go through? Okay, so we have to go through it like
chronological order.
First game of the week. Bam.
Well, you guys criticised me before for not doing them in order.
Because you didn't do it right. You missed one.
No, I didn't. I just didn't do it in order. I was getting to it.
No, you didn't.
That's not what we were concerned about.
Not at all.
Oh my god. All right.
Non-issue.
All right. Well, we will start off with the first game of the A-League because that's how I want to do it. So that's what we're going to do.
Even though I started talking about the Phoenix, but
no, we're gonna start off with the Melbourne City game.
How big is your ego?
Melbourne. It's not as big as yours, mate. God.
Okay, fair enough.
Not as big as Finn's. God, his head's exploded in the room.
I went to the World Cup.
Oh, for all the listeners,
I got a media pass.
For all the listeners, he's still walking around with a Rugby World Cup backpack.
No, okay.
He thinks he's top stuff.
He thinks
I honestly
he's
don't.
The man.
That's because my other bag is damaged. Covered in laundry detergent.
Tell it to the judge, pal.
What were you cleaning off, mate?
On my laptop bag.
Yeah.
Okay, Gussie.
Anyway,
Moving on.
Melbourne City played against the Central Coast Mariners, who have been a side that has struggled for the last couple of years in the A-League. Melbourne City took this one out as well, 3-1 at home. Not unexpected. They continue their early form, sitting at the top of the A-League ladder. So they were very impressive once again. The Newcastle Jets and Perth Glory played out a 1-1 draw in Newcastle.
Did you watch any of these, Gussie?
I actually did.
Did you?
Yeah.
There we go.
I watched a bit of the Raw game, mate.
The
But we'll talk about that later.
And there's a reason
because
why.
last
There's a
later.
reason why I only watched a bit of it. Let's just
Why? Adelaide scored in the 85th minute, mate. It's-
All right. Anyway, they played out Perth Glory and Newcastle played out a 1-1 draw. Look, Perth have been pretty disappointing so far.
but
They really haven't lived up to the hype
I
that they
think
created last season.
we tend to see this in the A-League with teams who aren't Sydney or Melbourne.
Mm.
Teams who have great seasons.
Yep.
And then drop. And that's what Perth are doing. I think they're second year syndrome a bit. There's a bit of that.
Yeah.
Bit
Little
of
bit.
that.
A little bit of a hangover.
Are we allowed to talk about that now, Gussie, or should we talk about
No, you
results?
can. You can continue, mate.
Okay. I'm just double checking with you because you're the host.
Do you have anything else to say?
I
It's
was
his
I
birthday.
was opening it
It's
up
my
to the
birthday,
floor,
come
mate.
on.
I was opening it up
It
to
is
the
my
floor.
birthday.
2 times in one episode. How blessed are we? Gee whiz.
With 2 parrots.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll go on to the next game if
What
you're all right
do-
with moving on, mate.
Go.
Or do you want to say something?
Let's go.
Let's move on.
Hurry up. We want
The
this to
Western
end.
Derby.
Yeah, all right. This side, the
I like
Western
that.
United.
I made that myself.
I actually like that.
It's actually not
Copyright,
bad. Yeah,
mate.
no, let's slap that on a
Sell some
t-shirt.
t-shirts.
Exactly.
Western United.
Great minds. I like you.
Oh, there's a reason I'm keeping you around. I'll keep you here. Sorry, Gussie, continue.
you guys done?
Yeah, we're done.
You done?
Well,
okay.
we just came up with a business idea, mate. What have you done? Anyway.
Right, okay. Western United, they have been unbelievable so far.
Taking the
New
lead by
team this
storm.
year. They sit in second place after beating Western Sydney Wanderers 2-1 in this game. They leapfrogged Western United into second place. Western Sydney Wanderers into second place. So they were brilliant once again.
Well,
and
If we're going off early season form, grand final dress rehearsal,
Mm.
could be, couldn't it?
for yeah,
Could
maybe.
be.
I don't.
Been.
Wanderers, they've been very, very good these
I don't
first
see
few
the
rounds.
Wanderers holding on for much. I think this is
Neither do I. That's why when I spoke, I said early season form.
yeah. No,
That was key.
Yeah.
No, but these two
Asterisks.
teams, they are both very, very good. Western United, to me, kind of just seemed like the Wanderers 2.0 in the sense
Yeah.
that
I
when the
Yeah.
Wanderers came on board, they just had a stellar first year, won the minor premiership, and then lost to the Raw in a penalty shoot.
Yeah.
Was it penalty shootout or was it? No, it was
extra
Enrique.
time.
A late minute,
Enrique,
Enrique.
the
Yeah.
Kumra
Yeah.
Colts signing.
Kumra Colts.
Jeez, how they're
Legend.
blessed with talent.
I just want to
Oh, yeah.
say one thing. Western United, they've had a lot of home games already in this season. So we'll see how they do on the road,
Mhm.
whether they're able to keep it up. And the A-League's a long season, whether they're able to keep this sort of form at the back end.
See, I
Only time will tell.
only disagree with you, mate, because their first game was away to Wellington and Westpac Stadium.
Oh, it's
It's
Wellington, though,
Wellington,
mate.
mate.
It's Wellington.
Westpac Stadium is probably the
It's
hardest
not a
place to win.
fortress.
It's not?
No.
Oh, that's right. We're terrible.
Yeah,
Goodness.
that's right.
We'll
But
get-
you've won the last 2 games. Oh, we can't talk about it yet.
Talk about it yet.
Can't talk about it yet.
Well, we're on to it right now. We're
Oh,
on to the Wellington Phoenix game
jeez,
right now.
we've got
mate.
permission.
You got permission. You got
Thank
permission.
you, oh Lord.
You got permission to talk about it now, Finn.
Thank
Do you
you.
want to just go on another rant about how bad New Zealand sport is right now?
It was a Sunday afternoon, Gussie, just like any other day, really.
Yep.
And I was
That's
any other
me.
Sunday, pretty much.
You're
mate.
probably wondering how I got here.
And it's because I was born in Wellington.
Yep.
And
Lovely city.
lovely city, not lovely for football.
No.
No, pretty average, pretty average. And I sat down thinking, look, I'm not expecting miracles here, but just give me something, please. If there's someone looking down from above, just give me something here. And it looked like it, mate.
Hmm.
I missed the first 20 minutes, but I flicked on Fox Sports because I was watching the end of the cricket, the Super Over. That's another issue. Another issue. Flicked on the Phoenix, 1-0 to Wellington.
Oi, oi.
Could it be? Dare to dream? 65 minutes in, victory score, glass shatters,
Curtains.
dreams, curtains, mate.
Not for the
And-
first time. Not for the first time. Won't be the last.
Won't be the last, Gussie. And no, they the Phoenix did what the Phoenix do, but I think there was some stat that in 33 times they've gone to Melbourne, I think they've only won 3 times.
Ooh.
something like that,
Ooh.
and that's against the Victory.
Well, I thought what was really sad was how Wellington was celebrating the fact that they got a draw. Like, first points of the season, boys. Let's go. Come on.
Look,
The only way is up.
Look, that was a bit weird, but when you look at the result on its own, drawing away to the Victory, they're 0-4. They haven't won a game.
They've been shocking.
They haven't won a game at home this season. But traditionally, they are the team in the A-League, right? So if you can get a point away from home there, that's decent, especially for the Phoenix. It adds to the stupidity of the A-League and the format. The Phoenix, they're terrible this season so far. But, if they win 4 games, then they're pretty much guaranteed a top 6 spot. You know what I mean? Like, it's...
Yeah.
Obviously, that's an exaggeration, but, it means nothing, really.
Look, I've got a bit of a fun game I want to play with you guys, okay?
Oh, it sprung this on us.
So...
It wasn't in the
it's a bit of
pre-recording meeting.
No, it's a bit of a Guess Who game,
Oh,
okay?
I need to stop looking at my computer.
So...
Yeah, it's just right there.
Right, who am I? I'm in 9th place on the ladder.
This is one for the listeners at home
I've
too.
scored 1 goal all year, and this is my 3rd duck egg in a row.
Is this a team or a person?
It's a team.
It's a great segue.
It's Brisbane Roar.
It is. It is the Brisbane Roar. Woo! And once again...
Anyone would think you had a sports podcast.
Once again, they put up a duck egg.
Dude,
losing...
You shouldn't have a sports podcast. You should
What?
have a comedy podcast.
I
Because that was...
Body
Or a segue podcast. This is how you segue from, topic to topic in a podcast. Because that was
great.
flawless.
I'm just waiting for someone to recognise my talent and to sign me up.
I thought we were still in the
I
Phoenix,
think you're
but
still waiting for the call.
I thought we were still doing the Phoenix, but then before I knew it, bam, Brisbane Roar.
Yeah.
Out of
remember
nowhere.
it.
Keep it up, Gussie.
That's good stuff. Don't go changing.
Well, the Brisbane Roar were playing against Adelaide. It was in Adelaide, and they lost 1-0. Robbie Fowler hasn't made a great impression so far in Brisbane. Something really needs to change in that squad. Look, the defence isn't the problem. They're defending very, very well. They're not scoring goals. They signed Roy O'Donovan this year, and he's been quite poor.
He's an average striker, mate, so I don't know why they'd fork out money on him anyway. But at the same time, Robbie Fowler, will he ever get the sack this season?
No.
I don't see
won't.
it happening.
He's too big of a name.
Exactly,
Well,
mate.
they're going through a rebuilding phase as well. Everyone knows
that's
that.
bollocks, mate. That's bollocks. I think
Yeah.
in sport, the stuff about rebuilding phases and stuff, that's people trying to protect their jobs.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah. No doubt.
As a fan, I don't want rebuilding phases. I want success.
Yeah, but you can't expect... I mean, the Brisbane Roar have been a very successful A-League club. You can't expect them to be brilliant every single year.
No, you should, because they're paid professionals.
Yeah, but you can't expect them to win the A-League premiership every year.
No, but
You're gonna realise there's gonna be off years, and this is just a period for the Brisbane Roar. It's been a 2-year, maybe 3-year period where they're just not up to the standard.
Mate, you expect your team to be competitive, not necessarily win it.
Oh,
but you
no
expect,
doubt that's competitive though. I mean, they're losing.
What do you mean that they're ninth?
Yeah, they've only conceded about 3 goals all season. Their defence
So
is
they've
not a
just been
problem. It's
the
just
most
they
boring
need
team in the league.
Yeah, they've been a very boring side. That's why I only watched a little bit of the game. It's just they need to figure out how to unlock some of their forwards. I think Dylan Wenzel-Halls was a brilliant player for them last year, and he's someone that they need to unleash in that forward line because he was great.
Mate, they've played 4 games. They haven't won. You can't say they're competitive. It's the same with the Phoenix. It's the same with Newcastle.
Yeah, but I'm just saying they're not getting beaten by 5.
I get
They're
it.
in the contest. They just need to find goals.
They need a goal scorer.
At most leagues around the world, you say you're coming 9th. That's like, yeah, that's okay. But in the A-League, it's not.
When it's
because
out.
When it's out of 11 teams.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Look, yeah. I just want the A-League to be better.
Yeah.
To be honest, and that I was alluding to it before. That means marquee signings.
There was talk of Zlatan,
Well,
wasn't there?
Zlatan, he's officially announced he's leaving the Galaxy. Where's he going to next?
Go to the A-League.
Where's he going to go to
He was
next?
like,
going
what
to
did he?
Milan.
He made something on his
No, he's,
story. He's like, Spain, I am coming soon. But
Zlatan-
it's apparently it was all smoke and mirrors. It's not happening.
He posted on Thursday. Zlatan came, Zlatan saw, Zlatan
Yeah,
conquered, something like
something
that. It was
stupid.
very Zlatan.
Dude,
Yeah.
No, but look,
He's a showman.
you think any of us have an ego? Zlatan has the biggest ego in
he does. But
Oh,
he-
no
in the
doubt.
universe.
No doubt.
He owns it though, and I think it's quite funny. It's part of who he is.
Yeah.
People don't hate him for his ego, but again, the FFA, I'd quite like them to fork, to say, hey Zlatan, we'll get you down to a club. Where do you want to live in Australia?
Mm.
That's what should happen. Like, I know
Yeah.
it sounds stupid, but like something needs to happen to get these players down under.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's a bit of a tangent, mate. But Brizzy Raw,
Mm.
they need to find some form soon. Same with my boys, so we'll see.
Yeah. Well, match day 6, so this coming weekend we'll see Central Coast Mariners take on Adelaide United, Western United taking on Newcastle, Brisbane Roar will be taking on Melbourne City at home. I'm not very confident for him there. Sydney FC versus Melbourne Victory. That's usually the biggest game of the year.
Well, the Big Blue. Costa Barbarouses going back to, he's playing the Victory for the first time since he left.
That'll be interesting.
Thing is, City, they won at Perry Park.
Yeah.
So what chance did the Raw have,
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a joke, mate.
Yeah, I know.
Comparing the quality. No, but
I know. You'd be better off playing the Strikers.
the talking point out of this week, though, has to be the international break. Every league around the world, or most leagues, I couldn't say every league and know it for sure, but most leagues around the world, except for the A-League, have an international break, as they should this week.
Mm.
The A-League doesn't. And that means these clubs who are playing, the Phoenix are lucky that they've got a bye this week. But the clubs that are playing are now disadvantaged because their best players are,
Off doing international
duty
Yeah.
elsewhere. And it's a bit silly, and I think it comes down to...
It's not very fair either.
It's not, but how much control, do these clubs have? How much say do they have?
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you see clubs in England, they've got way more say on whether it's a player plays for his national team. I mean, you've got that risk of injury as well, so that's a big concern. And even this is not football, but basketball is a big one. I mean, you saw the American basketball side, the quality that they had, and they wouldn't let them play in the national side because they didn't want to get him injured. I think that's a scenario where the clubs have
that's a bit
too
different,
much
mate.
power.
No.
Mm-hmm.
The clubs let the basketballers play, but the basketballers didn't want to play because they want to play for their clubs.
But
That
do
was
you not
different.
think that the clubs were kind of in the air going, I don't want you to get injured?
They could have been, but it's mostly the players' call.
Yeah.
But no, I think it's a big disadvantage for these clubs playing this week. I think the A-League would have been a lot better off having 2 weeks off
Mm.
and shortening the season, because I think we've got 22 weeks for 11 teams, something like that. Actually, no,
Yeah.
that actually seems pretty reasonable. Wait, let me fact check how long it is, but wait, 28 weeks, 29
28
weeks. Yeah, 29
It's
weeks.
a long time.
29 weeks for 11 teams.
Yeah, it's a long
It's
time.
unnecessary. So
Yeah.
what I would have done is take advantage of these international breaks, cut 2 weeks off the season, 3-4 times a year.
Mm.
That's smart. That's smart business, Gussie.
It is.
That's smart.
Should be a coach. Or
Well, no,
manager.
because if
Or
I'm a
a-
coach, I don't have much say on the financial
or a,
aspect. But
or a
General manager or something. Director
FA
of football.
director.
you think I'd be good enough?
Probably not.
Mate, I've seen your
Look, I'm just gonna say
football
there's
manager.
I'll talk about it all
there's
Right.
definitely worse out there. There's definitely worse.
Here you go, Gussie. Jeez, it's
Ah.
your birthday, but you're the one giving me gifts, mate.
Yeah.
That's I'm blushing.
Anyway,
You are blessed. You
Anyway.
are blessed.
we will move on from football and we'll go to a little bit of rugby league.
Little bit.
We haven't talked about rugby league for a while, and I'm getting a bit
Since-
sad about
Since
that.
last week.
Off season,
Getting
I
withdrawal
can't
symptoms.
look. I can't wait until the league starts again. Yeah. Don't. Anyway, we'll be talking about David Fafita right now, and he's been in the news again. Look, the guy's only 19 years old, and he's making a bit too many headlines, I think, early on in his career.
Mate, it's his second off-field incident in
A year.
3 months.
It's
3 months.
ridiculous.
It's a bit silly for a 19-year-old, and the fact Campbell, he was just offered a big contract,
He
wasn't he?
was. So he was offered $3 million over 4 years. So he's kind of touted for a few clubs to be picked up. But what he basically said is that the fact that the Broncos helped him get out of Bali
Yeah.
Yeah, no,
has
it's-
pretty much put them in the shop window and pretty much sealed them as a deal.
Mate.
Which, should you really be judging your club on, what? On if they get you out of a Balinese prison? Should you be giving someone who was in a Balinese jail
Yeah.
$3 million?
If you're on a sell in Bali, you shouldn't be rewarded for that.
No.
And to me, that's what he has been. Look,
So soon as well.
if you're in, he beat up a security guard, didn't he? Like,
Yeah,
mate, he should-
allegedly he assaulted a
Allegedly, yeah.
security guard. Yeah, you can't. Yeah.
he shouldn't be playing rugby league for a couple of months.
Well,
mate.
exactly.
He shouldn't be.
I'm surprised the Broncos haven't gotten rid of him because
Oh.
it's. But
It's
sometimes,
league. It's
yeah,
league. They don't care.
I don't know. I don't really know where they draw the line sometimes.
Well, they don't,
don't.
mate. That's the thing. They genuinely don't. And I
It
think that's the problem.
It seems like it's something's happening every week off in the off season in the league. This is a big reason why fans can't wait for the games to start, because people get back into gear and stop acting like fools.
Well, no, mate, you've got to have a look.
Fools?
You've got to
Fools.
you've got to have a look into culture, don't you? Because this isn't a standalone incident.
But no, when you look at the Broncos, their culture is one of the best in the rugby league.
No,
I would disagree.
I'm not talking about the culture of the Broncos. I'm not talking about the culture of a number of clubs. I'm talking about the culture of the competition. In fact, the culture of the sport, mate. You know, where does it start?
Game.
Game.
It's just
Or does it start? You know, does it start at the grassroots level? You know, really, what are these players being taught is important? Is your career important, or is your off-field character more important? Because at least, you know, I guess in the sporting environments we've been involved in, the latter, right? You know, you've got to be a good person to be a good athlete, right? But
exactly.
I'm getting the impression these guys, I get they're young. I get they're young and they want to go a bit wild, spend a bit of cash, whatever.
Yeah.
But you're an athlete. You know, it's not, it's silly, mate. It's silly.
Well, he's a public figure. When you start being a professional athlete, you've got to think of yourself as a sort of brand. So him going out and partying, there's nothing wrong with that. But you've got to be very, very, very careful of what you do and where you're seeing what you're filming. And yeah, unfortunately, in the case of a lot of rugby league players, they're not thinking. And it's a real shame because it's bringing the whole sport into disrepute. People think rugby league is a game where players go out and do this.
Good work. He picks up quickly.
Well,
but you're right.
We're considered as a bit of a laughing stock as a game because there are so many of these off-field incidents, and it's just getting
It's just
tiring.
part of the furniture at this point. Honestly, there's always every week there's someone relieve themselves into their mouth, or
You just
someone
hope it's
was punching someone in Bali at a nightclub. Someone was playing Dragon Link till 1 a.m. the night before a a finals game.
Now that's his second time
That's his second time.
done something like this.
I think when you're getting offered the money he's on, you've got to acknowledge that as an athlete, you're on job 24 hours a day. And for some reason, he wants to take the foot off the gas a bit. Now, Gussie, I'll just butt in a sec because before we wrap up this part, when he arrived back in Brisbane Airport, he issued an apology. Now, to me, that apology was pretty insincere.
Super genuine.
Super genuine. Great guy. Never met him, but possible godfather if I ever have any kids one day.
Oh, role model.
No, but look, to me, it seems insincere. Especially watching the video.
It's just reading.
He's reading off the paper a bit. And look, he's a young guy. Again, I'm sure he is sorry for his actions, but to me, if you're in that situation, you should be, sounds cringe, but speaking from the heart a bit or speaking from your head.
Yeah.
And not speaking from a piece of paper that,
was probably handed to him by the Broncos.
Yeah, very likely.
Again,
he is young.
He's done something silly.
This will be a learning experience for him. He'll grow from this.
He'll be better for it, mate. But I think, he's learnt from it.
But also a better experience would have been the Broncos being a bit harsher with him.
A better experience, mate, would have him been not getting in trouble in Bali, and he could have enjoyed Bali.
Yeah, but learning from this, the Broncos should have issued him more of a harsh punishment.
They didn't give him a punishment at all. They gave him $3 million and a new deal.
Yeah,
they needed
he was
to
going to get
punish
3.5 otherwise.
Yeah,
no, that's not true. But no, I think the NRL will come down on him just like they did with Nelson.
For Solomon.
That's the one I can't pronounce it to save my life. But again, I think he's sorry.
Yeah.
I'm sure he's a pretty good guy, but again, it's just
Keep your off the fields, keep your investments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They just hurt their stock so much.
Oh, exactly.
And it's just not good for them. Anyway, former leaguey. I know this is off topic, boys. Marika Korobidi, as we're recording, just won the John Eales medal.
John Eales medal for.
Oh, did he?
Wallaby of the year. Now, mate, shouldn't have gone to any of them, should it?
No, not really.
No, to me, it should have gone to either Michael Hooper or Samu Karevi.
Just quietly, rugby league player.
Yeah, that's how I transitioned.
Yeah,
into
I know, but it's
look,
maybe it's saying the talents in the league.
If rugby league was a better game, it'd still be there.
You mentioned Samu Karevi. he came second by 50 votes. So, so Marika Korobidi got 200 votes from his Wallabies teammates, and Karevi got 50 less. So quite convincing.
Well, Korobidi's been quite good.
He has been quite good.
He's a solid player. He turns up every week. You don't usually see him having a bad game.
Yeah, no.
Again, I think you look at Hooper. Hooper's the same, but he's always involved constantly. Whereas as a winger, you can occasionally go missing.
Yeah.
And that's no fault of his own. That's just the ball doesn't come his way.
Yep.
But
unsurprisingly, Grace Hamilton picked up the Wallaroos Player of the Year, and Maurice Longbottom and Charlotte Caslick were named Men and Women's Sevens Player of the Year. So great stuff from them as well. So that's all been put to bed.
Let's hope that Australian rugby, I guess, can turn a new page and just be better next year.
Let's hope
better the years going forward, and hopefully let's see
new World Cup cycle.
Fraser McWright, Johnny Eels medalist 2020.
Yeah, that would be amazing.
Not to put pressure on you, Fraser, if you're listening.
Or Pattaya. I'd like to see Pattaya win it.
I think again, Pattaya is likely to start at 13 next year, but
I think
consider him at 15.
Almost a lock.
There's plenty coming through. That's all we got to say.
There's
a lot of options.
It's bright.
How much of it can you keep? That's the thing. Australian rugby does not have that much money compared to other codes. So
no.
That's the issue. Anyway, Guzzy,
we'll go on to a bit of cricket.
I
can't. Cricks.
Couldn't wait for this.
Who's not excited for a bit of cricks? We're going to start off with the Bulls Masters once again, boys. Sandgate and Redcliffe versus Ipswich Logan. So you guys like mixing up those names a little bit. Yep. We usually pick one. So we'll go Sandgate and we'll go Logan.
Great.
So they played at Trevor Holmes Oval. Sandgate Redcliffe. Their middle order set up a very good first innings total. Zach Kuhn scoring 90 runs and Charlie Hemfrey and Lloyd Aspen scoring half centuries. Ipswich are currently 2 for 83 in reply. Levi Thomas Matthews on 40 not out. Right, Sunshine Coast and South Brisbane. This game is played at Kerry Emery Oval in the Sunshine Coast. South Brisbane have grinded out a solid 6 for 245 first innings score. Emmanuel Peterson, he seems to be in my notes pretty
much every week. Yeah,
he's been solid.
Do you have a bit of a crush, Guzzy?
I do have a bit of. I love the name Emmanuel.
Ooh la la.
It's a great name. He scored another half century, finishing on 64 runs off 167 balls. So tough batting conditions there. He ground out a nice 50. Western Suburbs win a Manly. So this was the game me and Campbell and I went to. Yeah, you don't need.
How long did you just stay for though?
We were there for the whole game. What are you talking about?
That's weird because you told me something different off air.
Yeah.
But,
well, no, we popped round. It was at Graceville Memorial Park.
Yep.
We saw a couple overs. It was very hot. It was about 40 degrees.
So
I don't know.
hot.
I don't know how they were playing out there. I don't know when do you get to a point? Well, obviously cricket does. It gets too hot.
Go tools down.
I feel like
Smoker.
especially this week in Brisbane, it's been ridiculous, and I'm surprised they could play out there.
Actually,
Wynnum Manly actually scored a first innings total of 225. Jason Flores, I knew Jason Flores would be in the runs department. He usually is. He scored 72, while Ryan Tazalar took 4 for 44 for Western Suburbs. And Western Suburbs are currently 2 for 74 in reply. What was that you wanted to say before, Finn?
Win, mate.
Just
No.
Stitchel.
That was a bit of a double stitch up there. No, I was just gonna say, all the fires. Just hope everyone's safe and that type of thing.
Exactly.
100%.
Make sure you look after yourself.
Yeah.
Don't stay and defend.
No. There's still
Get out of there.
There's still 75 fires across Queensland.
Exactly. So it's
crazy.
look after each other.
Exactly.
Anyway, that's a bit of a public service announcement.
Exactly.
Now
From
continue.
the man
Good
himself.
stuff. I love it, Finn.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Guz, you got to get so much self-esteem
All right.
now.
Right. UQ Valley. Now this is the biggest game of the round. First versus third. This game was played at UQ. Probably the game of the week. Valley have scored a first innings total of 249. Lachlan, I'm not going to say this name right, but Pfeffer, it's P-F.
I imagine that's
Pfeiffer,
I would assume.
scored 61 runs. That's a pretty good total. While Scott Walter took 5 for 46 for UQ. UQ are 1 for 14, so a little shaky early on, but let's see if they can chase down that total set by Valleys. Gold Coast and Northern Suburbs. This one's on the Gold Coast. Northern Suburbs were only able to manage 181 runs in their first innings. Plenty of starts. No one was really able to get a big score in this one. Liam Hope Shackley taking 4 for 27 for Northern Suburbs. Northern Suburbs only scored 181 runs in that game. Gold Coast cruising towards the total at 3 for 148. Hugo Burden on 36 not out, and Liam Hope Shackley 94 not out. He's having a stunner, taking 4 wickets and scored 94 runs in that game. The last game, the second last game of the game.
Second last game of the game. Jeez,
Jeez,
Mate,
is that like,
I'm doing circles in my head. I don't know what's going on.
is that cricket lingo for the second last over, or?
I mean the last game of the round.
There we go.
How did I say second last game of the game?
Exactly like that.
What's going on? Anyway, Toombul versus Redlands. Now, this game was absolutely full of stars, right? Some of these names, I was looking at the results and I was pretty blown away. The Toombul side includes players like Matthew Renshaw and Chris Lynn.
It's a good squad.
While Redlands have Jimmy Pearson and Marnus Labuschagne. So a lot of these boys play in the Bulls Masters competition around Sheffield Shield. So I saw in the results Marnus had to actually retire because he has to go off for Queensland duty. So currently, I'll talk about Matthew Renshaw and Chris Lynn and the Redlands, the Toombul's first innings. Matthew Renshaw scored 210 runs off 185 balls, while Chris Lynn did what he usually does and whacked 32 runs off 19 balls. Toombul finished on 9 for 392 declared, and Redlands are 1 for 35 in reply. So pretty good effort. Marnus Labuschagne, I said he's actually retired in that game to play for Sheffield Shield, so we'll see what Redlands can do in that game. Right, well, that was Bulls Masters cricket. We are done with Bulls Masters cricket. We're going on to Sheffield Shield. New South Wales, 8 for 444 declared. Smudge scoring another century. He's just too good. WA 1 for 85 in reply.
Didn't he get sent off for dissent recently as well, or was that in the second?
Yeah. He
Was that in this game?
I believe, yeah. It was this game. He was having a.
He was having a bit of a sook.
So the question,
because it was quite a cheap wicket.
Well,
the question has to be asked, guys.
I don't know what he's complaining about.
Does he need to be rubbed out for another year? Does he
I
need
think
to
so.
sit down?
Get
Does
rid
he
of
need to sit down and think about what he's done? Was
Been
that
a naughty boy.
Was that the shot where he
Descent
nicked it?
It was like he put
Nicked
his
it.
bat above his head to try and like lift it over almost.
Yep.
And he nicked it,
Dude.
and then obviously keeper caught it, and then
That's
he's
fair.
like
That's fair play. Isn't
said
it?
something. There's probably a bit of sledging going on we didn't
He
see.
can't even be happy with 100.
No, because I think he was
What a
like
sook.
out for 103. I think.
Oh, almost got my average.
There was the story on the back page on Tuesday, back page on Fox Sports. Brad Haddon was on, and he was talking about how
Legend.
Smudge used to just walk into his room, order room service, and buy movies.
What?
And he was
On his account.
at his
Oh my
room.
god.
So Haddon was joking.
What a
about,
grub.
so Haddon was joking about how every time they went on tour, like every week, he had to allocate like $300 for Steve Smith tax.
What?
Jeez.
No,
What?
as a joke, but no, that sounds pretty fun. I get the impression Haddon's pretty.
He's a pretty fun-loving guy.
Yeah, pretty.
You can't.
He was
you
joking
can't-
about
you
it, having a
can't
good
hate
laugh
Haddon.
about it.
No, you
Um,
can't. Gilly or Haddon?
Oh, Gilly.
Gilly.
Yeah, no question.
Well,
Gilly
Gilly's
changed
just
the
such-
game, didn't he, mate?
Yeah,
He
he's
did.
just such a good batsman. I mean, Haddon was quite good. That Ashes series really was the highlight of Haddon's career.
Yeah.
The was it 2013, 14?
14, I think.
One of them.
14.
But let's face it, guys, he's no Tim Payne.
Oh.
Oh, captain, my captain.
Oh, captain, my captain.
How long do you reckon it's going to take before Steve Smith takes his captaincy?
I don't know.
think-
He might not be allowed to.
No, he's eligible in March.
Oh,
I
then
think
he'll take it
March.
straight away.
March.
I don't think he'll take it straight away.
Really?
Because that doesn't necessarily reflect a
confidence.
strong confidence, but also culture of a team.
Backbone.
Dude, Tim Payne's
Look,
He's not a bad
lucky
captain.
he's in that side.
Tim Payne's,
bad.
if Tim Payne wasn't captain,
He's not in
Alex
the side.
Carey's in the team. So
No, I think
Um,
Matthew Wade's the keeper.
Oh, nice.
you think he's a keeper?
Nice.
No, I think he'd be the keeper. I mean, he's in the
Keeper
side
over
already
keeper.
he's in the side already not being the keeper.
Yeah, but I think
they'd get rid of him and then they'd bring in maybe a Mitch Marsh. I hate saying it, but maybe a Mitch Marsh. Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean,
Just
although
because-
he already played.
Just
but
because you select one wicket keeper doesn't mean you can't select another. I think
I'm
England, no,
it doesn't
no.
make sense to replace a
But-
wicket keeper with another wicket keeper when
No.
you've already got one.
As in England throughout the World Cup, and they've been doing it for a few years now, they've been playing 3 wicket keepers in the same team.
Yeah.
They've just
Chucked
because
them in
of the
slips.
slips, but also outfield and stuff.
Mm.
Because they
But
could
they can
catch
play.
It.
They
They
can.
could, exactly. They're not numpties who couldn't catch a cold.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't mind Wade. I think he's 4 or 5 now, batting at 4 or 5. But
Yeah.
That's not a bad spot for him.
batting out there in the field, and
He hasn't been in great form recently. He
He
got
hasn't.
into that side.
he's
of,
he's a lock. He's
Yeah.
a lock though. I think Australia I think they've picked. I want to say 29 players over 9 years. I think
Jeez.
something like that. So
Is that too few? I feel like that's
Too
kind of
much,
too.
too
You
much,
reckon?
I
Over
think.
9 years.
I think almost you've got
Or
to.
3 years, sorry.
Well, they've had real problems with their batting.
They have, mate, but
Yeah.
look, it gets to a stage where your team is trying to contest for. There's now the ICC Test Series. If you want to win that, you've got to have a top 11. It's not about feelings. It's not about hey, you played really well this week, but we're going to let Johnny have a go. That's not what Test
Yeah.
cricket's about. It's
Yeah.
about find out who your best 11 is
Yeah.
for different pitches, and go with that.
Yeah.
It's-
Anyway,
Anyway, mate.
yeah.
But,
Back on the Sheffield
how
Shield.
are the Bulls going?
Well, I mean, they're not going great. They got bowled out for 183 in their first innings.
Could have been worse.
Victory.
Could have been bowled out for 182.
That's actually pretty
Mate,
terrible.
You are
That's not good.
You are absolutely terrible. Victoria are none for 5 in reply. The other game is South Australia, who declared at 6 for 490. Like, what's the point if you're scoring 500 runs? Is there any point where you
Just go
continue this continue that game,
Continue this competition. I
continue
think so,
the competition as well? Like, what's the point? Like,
So-
God, if every game's going to end in a draw, what's the point?
That's the thing, mate. And I think these 4-day games,
It's batting practice.
it is, mate. But especially when you have 2 good teams against each other, you have a lot of draws. I mean, you watch Test cricket. It's 5 days and there's a lot of draws. Because it's almost like there isn't enough time to play the cricket that's needed.
Mm.
Yeah.
In 4 days, it's a lot worse. And
Let's play 7 days.
should we just play for a month?
A month
A full
of cricket.
month of cricket.
Just see who can last the
God.
longest. 14
Australia won 3,056.
I don't even think they'd score that much.
14
Yeah, I
innings
reckon.
each.
All out for 54.
All out.
Go out there,
Yeah.
block a few thousand, and then get your iron. You're right.
Jeez. Yeah, if only. Well, we'll get on to the Women's Big Bash League. We haven't done a lot. We haven't touched a lot on the WBBL. We'll give you a bit of an update. We're into the 4th week of the WBBL cricket. The Heat are actually at the top of the ladder. So they were last year's champions. They stood at the top on 10 points. And the competition this year is actually very, very close. All of the top 4 sides are on the same points. Their table position has actually been decided right now by points differential. And that'll have a lot to do with the final positions at the end of the season, because BBL is usually women's BBL is quite a close competition.
Who's the team to beat then, Gussie? Who do you think?
I think it's the 2 grand finalists from last year.
The Heat.
The Heat and the Sixers. They look like the best 2. The Thunder have been a bit of a smoky. I don't mind seeing them. They've done quite well. You never know with the Scorchers. They've always got a bouncy track out in Perth. They can beat anyone. So it's really enthralling, and we'll see what happens. Great competition.
Enthralling. Hear that, Campbell? Someone's been reading this week.
Oi, oi.
I've used that word before.
Have
by
you?
the way? Yeah, I used it when I ran out of words. And then I was like, oh, I can't say amazing.
I love how that's you're bragging about
I'll
that. I'm like, I
say-
used that word before, actually.
I'll say enthralling this week
No, that's good stuff, mate.
because I'm enthralled.
But Gussie, we're going to move on to something a bit different, mate. I'm going to butt in,
Yeah.
but we're going to move on to we alluded to it last week. You're a bit of a bandwagoner, mate.
You are.
Bond identified it, didn't he?
He did. Well, no, he just said you weren't a Strikers fan. He didn't exactly say, you support
But
X,
they
Y,
go
and
hand
Z.
in hand.
They do, mate. They do. But Gussie, who's your team this week?
Well, yeah, I've got a bandwagon of the week. That's the segment we're starting, I guess.
It is.
We did allude to it last week, as Finn said. This week, I am jumping on the bandwagon of Leicester City. The Leicester City
Foxes.
bandwagon, the Foxes. They're in the English Premier League in England, of course.
Oh,
What? Don't.
oh,
The English Premier League in England.
Yeah.
Thank you for telling me that because
I was confused.
I was really confused, but I was also really like shy about asking someone because I don't know, just wasn't sure.
You finished?
No, but like
Now-
England,
In England.
but there are Welsh teams in there.
There are.
There are.
There
so
are.
let's
There
not-
are. Okay.
Actually, there aren't now because Cardiff got
They
relegated.
do get relegated.
Yeah.
Swansea 2 years before
Yeah.
then. So
Anyway.
And
let's
Leeds
just
aren't
be-
anywhere near it.
Leeds aren't Welsh.
Are they not?
No.
I swear they were.
Leeds are
Leeds
from
is
Leeds.
like in the middle of England.
Continue.
Jeez,
Eh,
mate.
Idiot from me.
Learn your geography, mate. Come on. Anyway, Liverpool, Finn's side, are clear leaders so far.
Thank you.
But we know they never win the Premier League.
No.
So we've gone down to second place, or I've gone down to second place. And in second place is Leicester City. Now, Leicester City have the second best attack in the Premier League.
Behind who?
29 goals. They're behind Manchester City.
Actually, that's true. Whoops.
Yeah.
Not behind Liverpool, mate.
No.
They have the second best attack, 29 goals. Jamie Vardy, absolutely
having a party.
banging them in. Yeah, leading the goal scoring chart with 11. They have the best defense in the league as well, which
No.
is
Really?
pretty crazy. They've only conceded 8 goals all
See,
year.
Brendan Rodgers, he worked wonders for Liverpool a few years back.
And Swansea before that.
Yeah,
Mainly for Liverpool, to be fair, because
Yep.
the team
Celtic as well.
it was when Gerrard
Yeah, I
slept.
mean, it's not much of a competition, is it?
It's when Gerrard slept.
Oh,
But it
that was
was
great.
It was that year. No, but you look at the quality of our team
Mm.
that year, mate. It was absolutely ridiculous. Joe Allen in the midfield.
Oh, yeah.
And Sacco in defence.
Daniel Sturridge up top. Yeah, Mamadou Sakho at the back.
Dude can run
I
like.
think we had Ricky Lambert then, but
Ricky-
basically
No, you didn't, I don't think, back
no,
then.
he was a star signing a few years later.
Yeah.
No, but basically
Oh, my God. You guys went through a bad period of
We did,
signing.
mate.
Just
Yeah.
signing
we did.
so,
So
poor.
Lazar Markovic up front.
Oh.
oh,
Ooh.
mate, glory days. No,
Balotelli scoring a whole 0
Ooh.
goals.
Christian Benteke.
that's right.
Christian Benteke.
Classic. I forget.
I don't think he's scored a goal in 3 years.
No,
No.
no. So it's quite impressive that he's able to do this again with Leicester. Just because I think when Leicester won the Prem, it was still like obviously massive shock. No one saw it
yeah.
coming. But then it was like they dipped a bit, didn't they?
They did,
Mm.
but still not too much. Like, they
But
still...
it looks to me now that they've almost broken into that top 4.
Mm.
Yeah.
That a few years ago seemed pretty clear cut, didn't it?
Yeah.
You had your Arsenal, Liverpool,
Tottenham.
United,
I
and
think-
Tottenham.
What-
Yeah.
I think
Chelsea.
they've taken
Yeah.
over the role.
City.
Yeah,
I
Chelsea
think
City.
they've taken over the role of Everton.
It's like a top 6.
No,
I think they're
Yeah.
becoming the new Everton.
I see that.
how's that?
I see
As
that.
in
They're better
a
than
constant
Everton,
sort of 6th place side, maybe a bit above, and maybe they achieve one year and maybe they don't do as well. Everton this year have been shocking.
though. Mm.
I think Everton have represented the Leicester
Everton,
of old.
mate.
Everton, that's what I'm saying.
Everton.
Everton. Evidently.
It's evident.
I think...
It's evident
I think
that
Wolves-
Everton are terrible.
I think Wolves are kind of in that similar mould, even though they're a bit
they had
fresher in the league.
they had a
They
good
just-
year last year.
To be fair,
Uh,
last year was their first year back in the Prem, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah,
So
it was.
You can't really judge them off that.
No, but they're getting money pumped
But-
into them, and they've got they sign well. It's about who you sign. Like, a lot of teams just sign. They go,
well,
who's doing well in the championship? Let's
But
get
look,
him.
I think a smarter bandwagon, Gussie, would have been Chelsea Football Club. Your team, of course, right?
yeah.
No,
Frank Lampard.
Frank Lampard, sorry. Not Ricky Lambert, jeez.
Who was
Back
imagine
to the
him.
glory days.
Ooh,
No, Frank Lampard won manager of the month last
yeah,
month.
he did.
It's a very young team. They're equal on points with
They are.
Leicester.
Mason
Yeah.
Mount doing his thing.
Yeah,
They're
Tammy
doing bits.
Abraham banging them in.
So-
10 goals for Tammy Abraham.
Well, they've got a transfer ban, so they're
Yeah.
going to have to play this youth that they've been
Yeah.
stocking up for years.
I should have that the fixtures in front of me, but I'm pretty sure they're playing City
yeah,
coming
yep,
up.
Yeah,
And Bernardo
Silva's
Silva suspended
banned.
for a game, so
Ooh,
after a social media post. So
what did he post? Can we get into it?
It was
no idea, mate.
a racial.
Oh,
No, but
Bernardo.
Again, and to be honest, imagine if City lose this week. Just what that does to the title race. Because as a Liverpool fan, as you said, Gussie, I'm still not convinced we can actually win the league.
Well,
you haven't done it
that's
before.
why
so-
I'm saying I
No.
like the look of Leicester.
No, I
Look,
think that's
no,
that's-
but no,
They're not going to
no,
win.
They're not
look,
going to win it.
That's what everyone said in 2016, right?
Yeah, no.
That's
but they-
exactly what everyone
no,
said in
but they
2016.
only thought that because no other top teams were good. Arsenal came second that year,
Example this
and
year.
we were average.
But example this year, Liverpool and Chelsea are the only sides who have really stood up in that generic like top 6.
Are you actually implying
Man United-
Liverpool are average?
What do you mean? I'm saying they're the only 2 sides that have actually stepped up this year, who have actually played well.
Manchester City.
Well, Manchester
Not to
City
their
have been
standards,
below
though.
They haven't
par.
played to their standards.
But they
Man-
still played well.
But if
They're still up
City-
there, but City have not played to their standard. United have been rubbish. Arsenal have been rubbish. Everton, even you could
Everton.
kind of put them. Whatever.
Tottenham
they've
have been pretty
Tottenham
gash.
have been horrible.
Spurs are 14th.
Yeah, they've
Yeah.
been horrible. So if there was ever a year for Leicester to win it
Nah.
again,
Nah.
this
Look,
is the year.
It's Liverpool's year, and that's
Yeah.
not me being biased.
No, I
That's-
do
that's-
agree with that.
They
yeah.
look better, and I think they would have learnt from last year.
It's
'cause
theirs to lose from now. I think.
normally when Liverpool get close and ultimately fail,
Someone slips over.
funny, the next year they bomb and they come 5th
Mm.
or something. This year
It's
they're
different.
the top dog still. It's different, man. It's got a different feel around it.
It does. I will agree with that.
It's a bit different, and I think winning the Champions League last year, they know how to win.
Bit of winners mentality. They got the best fullbacks in the league, I'd say.
Exactly. The best sledge I heard during the week was Jose Mourinho doing some punditry with Vincent Kompany.
Mr. Unemployed.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
Yeah, and Kompany was talking about how last year, when they went behind against Brighton, Liverpool went ahead against whoever they were playing. I think it was Wolves.
Mm.
And on the live ladder, Liverpool were going to win the league. And yeah, Kompany heard later, apparently around the stadium at Anfield, there were people crying, going, "We're going to do it, we're going to do it." You know what I mean? And then apparently it made it that much sweeter when City won the title.
They've just heard the news at the Stadium of Light.
Exactly.
Classic.
But then when
It is.
when Kompany said that, Mourinho went, "But there's the thing. These guys are still the team to beat this year because you guys were the best in England, but they were the best in Europe." Drop the mic, walk out, Jose.
See
And that's the reality, mate. I don't think Leicester, to be fair, don't have European football to have to
No. Deal
juggle.
with. Yeah.
Especially Liverpool, I think.
Which is a big thing.
It's massive.
It is, mate.
That's a big thing in their ambitions for.
Yeah.
And Liverpool, they have 2 games on one day in December, don't they?
Liverpool are still in the League Cup as well. So they've
Yeah.
got about 3 competitions. FA Cup will be coming up.
No, that's the thing, mate.
So they've got
I think it's
plenty of
December
commitments.
December 19th our time.
Play some youngsters.
They've got the Club World Cup semi-final,
Jeez.
and they've got the League Cup quarter-final against Aston Villa.
What do you? Although you guys might be out of the Champions League, it's
What?
Liverpool
Why?
because you're not good. You've been losing in the Champions League.
We
You're coming
lost-
like 3rd.
We lost our first game.
Yeah, you're coming like 3rd. I'm pretty sure. I
been
haven't
like
checked
one
recently.
game, probably.
I think,
How many
I think
games
you're
have there
coming
been in the
about 3rd.
Champions League?
Sorry?
There's
How many
only
games
been
have there
about
been?
4 or
There's
3.
only been about 4, but
That's the whole group stage, isn't it?
no, there's
No,
Did you
there's
play everyone
6.
twice? Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and well, all I'm saying is I'm pretty sure they're like on the brink of.
Mate, you're having a laugh, mate. You're honestly having a
I
laugh.
don't think you've looked at it. I'm pretty sure because they lost to Red Star, didn't they?
Yeah.
Or,
Red
yeah,
Star,
Napoli.
Belgrade.
or Napoli.
And then we drew with Red Star.
Oh, you might be up there. Oh yeah, no. Yeah,
No,
I think you
no,
might be
keep
up there.
going with your valid point, mate, because you.
I'm just. Well, what I was actually going to say is, so you've got the
Liver-
Champions League.
Here we go. Sorry, I've just got it up now. In 4th place, Genk, 1 point.
Okay.
3rd
Belgians.
place, RC, Red Bull, Salzburg,
They might be in first,
4 points. 2nd place, Napoli,
Yeah. Okay.
8
They are.
points. 1st place,
Okay.
Liverpool,
Sorry. Jeez.
9 points. I'm just saying, if you're going to say something,
Look.
back it up.
Look. All I'm
Stats and
saying.
figures, mate. That's what the people want.
All I was going to say is, would Liverpool place Champions League importance over winning the Premier League this year?
No.
Considering you won it last year,
Go the double.
would you prefer
Double, mate. I'm talking
as
like
a
treble.
fan? Would you prefer to win the Champions League?
Treble.
I want a sextuple on Football Manager. That was pretty cool.
With
What?
Dartford.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
undefeated Prem season.
Invincibles.
Yeah, mate.
You
legit.
going to
No,
answer? Would you
uh,
prefer a Champions League win?
I remember I was sitting down with I was texting George Nicol last year, who's also a Liverpool fan, speaking to my brother too, saying I hope Liverpool lose. I think it was PSG in the first knockout round, and I was saying I hope we because they're in the pool stage with us. Whoever we played, and I said I hope Bayern Munich. I hope we lose
Yeah.
because I want Liverpool to win the Premier League, not the Champions League. Later that year though, didn't really mind when Hendo
Hendo.
lifted
Well-
big ears. But, mate, I think Premier League's really important to Liverpool. But I think
Yeah.
at the same time, when they do eventually break that duck, they could have some dynasties.
Yeah.
They
And
really
you-
could. It's
you
that
als-
It's the mental block.
You also have to say, I think Liverpool gained a lot of their form from the Champions League competition, how well they did.
And not even just last year. The fact we got to the final the year before and lost to Real Madrid.
That's what I mean. That run.
Getting there and then backing it up the next year. I remember, because we're out in the city when we lost to Real Madrid, and I was driving, Dad was driving Ryan and I home, and I said, look, we're not going to be there for 10 years because that's not what Liverpool do. But Jurgen Klopp's come in, mate, and he's transformed that club. So
he's been the main thing.
So
I think.
I understand your bandwagon, Gussie, but not for Champions League qualification. I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Not for the league.
You don't think they're going to win?
They're way too far
Not for a
back.
league title.
Well,
no.
we'll see what happens.
I reckon
Sure.
Sheffield United for a bit of a schmokey for the league.
I reckon Russia for the Rugby World Cup.
Russia for the Rugby World Cup. You're just full of takes.
Look, I was actually I'm the one who tipped England to get into the Rugby World Cup final.
You also tipped
them to win it.
Well, I tipped South Africa.
I mean, you tipped New Zealand though. Look what happened there.
Right.
I mean,
I was the only one who tipped
not the
Japan
king
to come out of the
not
group.
the king of tips over here.
All right, mate, stop.
Anyway, continue. Let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, thank you very much to Bon Scott. He was a great guest. A lot to talk about in regards to his playing career, his footballing career with the Brisbane Strikers. And Movember, of course. We had a big focus on Movember this week. We will actually be doing a challenge for Movember. I believe it's in the works.
More of that to come.
Yeah, more of that to come. We'll see what happens there. If you would like to follow us, we're at _Beyond the Sidelines _ for Instagram, at Beyond the Sidelines Facebook, YouTube's Beyond the Sidelines. Check out the previous interviews and podcasts as well. Just listen to them as long as you can.
Give us some love.
Big
Just
marathon.
give us some love.
30 seconds, it's all we need.
This is the 16th. Yeah, 30 seconds is all we need. Get
Check
those
'em out.
listens up.
Yeah, it's always on Facebook as well, so you can check it out there. Facebook, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all of the above. Boys, anything else to add?
I'm really hungry.
I'm really hungry
I'm
too.
starving
Can we
as
go
well.
get something to eat?